This lesson is for the third day of Unit 3, Section 2. We are going to be covering the textbook Section 3.3. Before we get started, let's factor these. So if you recall, when we're factoring, we're looking for what multiplies to C and adds to B as long as there's no number in front. So if I'm looking at 25, the only things that multiply to 25 are 1 and 25, or negative 1 and negative 25, right, because we're looking at negative, or negative 5 and negative 5. And that's our combination that adds negative 10. So this is x minus 5 times x minus 5, or x minus 5 squared. And if I looked at the second one, I'm looking for what multiplies to 16 and adds to 8. So either 1 and 16, 2 and 8, or 4 and 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So this is x plus 4 times x plus 4, or x plus 4 squared. So if I look at these, I want to know, is there anything about this equation that could have led me here, right? Is there anything here that gets me here? And I notice that I have negative 5 inside, and that's half of negative 10. I have positive 4 inside, that's half of positive 8. Right? Negative 5 squared is 25, positive 4 squared is 16. So what we have here is when I'm factoring something, if I take half of that term and square it, and it becomes the perfect square there, this actually factors to x plus or minus whatever half of that value was. So that's what we're going to do today, to do something called completing the square, right? We're going to turn different quadratics into this form where once I took half of this value, it was plus that number squared. So I can factor it into this method. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite the left side of the equation with just the x squared and the x. So that means we're going to move whatever c value we have to the other side if there was one. Then we're going to complete the square by taking half of the b term and adding that number squared to both sides of the equation. Then I'm going to factor the left side, right? I'm going to write it as that binomial squared, and then I'm going to solve by taking the square root of both sides. So in my first problem here, I have x squared plus 6x plus 3. So if I were to do this, I'm going to start by moving the 3 over, right? I want to get just the x squared plus 6x on this side. Now I'm going to take that term and I'm going to cut it in half. So half of this is 3. And I'm going to take this now and I'm going to square it, and that's what's going to be added to both sides of the equation. So on this side we're going to end up with plus 9, and on this side we're going to end up with plus 9. So this equation now becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals negative 3 plus 9 is 6. So this is the side we're able to factor, right? Half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9, so this works out where we're going to end up with something squared like that. And it's always going to be x and then whatever sign this was and half of that number. That's how it's going to factor. So this is the equation after we have completed the square. So the only thing left to do now is to solve by taking square roots. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Remember, when I take the square root of x plus 3, of x plus 3 squared, I just get x plus 3. Here I get plus and minus the square root of 6. And then I will subtract 3, x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 6. And I can leave it like that, right? I don't have to turn that into decimals. It's more work to actually turn that into decimals. But if you had chosen to do that, let's see, you would have gotten negative 0.55 and negative 5.45. Oops. All right, and those would be our two answers there. So you go ahead and try these. All right. pause it, and I'm going to show the answer. All right, go ahead, check your answers there. Again, we could leave this as it is, and this we're able to reduce because the square root of 16 is 4, so we end up with x minus 2 equals positive and negative 4. So those are our two different solutions for that one. All right, if we notice in example 2, we have 3x squared plus 12x minus 15. We cannot complete the square if there's a number in front of the x squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor out or divide out the GCF, the 3. So if I divide everything in this problem by 3, including the 0, right? 0 over 3 is still 0. So now I have x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. And I can now complete the square here. So again, I'm going to move that over. Okay. Right, then we take half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So each side is going to get plus 4 to it. So now we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 9. Factoring this side, we get x plus 2 squared, right? Half of 4 is 2. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 2 equals plus or minus 3. So then I get x plus 2 equals positive 3, and x plus 2 equals negative 3. So x equals 1, and x equals negative 5. Okay? So you go ahead and try the next two, pause it, and I'll show the answer. All right, so those are your answers for these. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to complete the square, but it's going to be about rewriting instead of solving. So here we're going to write the quadratic function in vertex form. And if you remember vertex form, looked like this. So really we're getting something squared. That's our goal, right? To get x plus or minus something squared. So we're going to do all the same things. I'm still going to move the 18 over. So now I have y minus 18 equals x squared minus 12x. I'm still going to take half of that 12, negative 12, right? Negative 6. And then if I squared negative 6, I get 36. So we're going to have plus 36 on both sides. So now I have y, and then negative 18 plus 36 is plus 18 equals x squared minus 12x plus 36. So this can be factored, right? X minus 6 squared. We get the minus 6 from over here. And the last thing to do is to get y alone. So I'm going to subtract the 18. So we have y equals x minus 6 squared minus 18, which means that my vertex, remember always opposite first, and then exact. And that would be my answer. That's the vertex for that quadratic equation. So try the last two, pause, and I'll show the answer. All right, so there you have it. We have y equals x minus 4 squared plus 2, so that makes the vertex positive 4, 2. Then we have y equals x plus 3 squared minus 13. That makes the vertex negative 3, negative 13. And that is our lesson on completing the square.